These are some mother-in-laws that found the audacity on sale, probably at Bloomingdale's. Compilation! We got a juicy story from the Charlotte Dobre subreddit. This is from Boiling Point Potato. I feel like the potato inside joke is not something that everybody understands. And quite frankly, I don't even understand it entirely. It goes back, honestly, about a decade now. Throwaway account because I never thought I'd contribute to this page, but here we are. Also, all names are fake, just the way I like it. I'm not trying to get sued. I don't want to get sued today. Would rather not.
Lawsuit has begun.
Hi, potatoes. Hey, bestie. I never thought I'd be posting here, but I'm at my breaking point. I'm getting married in 6 weeks to James, 30 male, who I genuinely love. When did you post this? 15 days ago. Is this gonna go up in time? Maybe not, but hopefully you hear this in time. He's kind, funny, supportive, or at least he was until wedding planning turned into what feels like an extended episode of Mean Girls.
Why are you so obsessed with me?
With his mother, Karen, 56 female, playing the role of Regina George's older, scarier, passive-aggressive cousin.
God, Karen, you are so stupid.
Oh, goody. It's always been super non-confrontational. Like, I'm the kind of person who says, oh no, it's fine, when the waiter brings the wrong food because, like, I don't want to be a bother. I'm also this person. I hate drama. I hate conflict. I'd rather swallow my feelings whole than deal with the awkwardness of an argument. But Karen is turning me into the kind of person who screams into pillows. I'm a pillow screamer. But I almost always get a zit the next day.
You've got a dirty pillow.
At first, I thought she was just the typical overbearing mother. You know, the no one is good enough for my son type. But this is different. She's not outright rude. It's worse than that because everything she does is wrapped in this
I'm just being helpful
package, which makes me feel crazy for even getting upset. At my bridal shower, she stood up and gave this heartfelt speech, ending with,
I always pictured James was someone more refined, but Sarah's so fun and casual.
Fun and casual. Yeah, that's a little backhanded, I'm not gonna lie. A little backhanded.
You know, I always thought of someone a little more classy for my son. But you'll do. You're okay.
It really keeps things interesting. The whole room laughed and I sat there wondering if anyone else felt the secondhand sting. She's part of this little clique of family friends, think adult
Cool moms.
who wear matching yoga gear and drink wine like it's their personality trait. Oh, I know the type, bestie. They probably wear Lululemon or Aloe. They make me feel like an outsider at my own engagement events. I swear, it's like I'm back in high school trying to sit at the lunch table with girls who pretend they don't hear me. Oh, they hear you, baby girl. They're just choosing not to. She gifted me a book called The Art of Being a Good Wife. When I awkwardly laughed, she said,
Oh, it's just a little joke. But marriage can be challenging for women who've been so career focused. Thought you'd appreciate it.
I always think that people who gift like self-help books, it's very backhanded. You gotta do it properly, you know? Like if someone gifted me Ego is the Enemy, for example, I'd be like, what you trying to say, bestie? What you trying to say to me? Like, what am I supposed to be grateful? The Art of Being a Good Wife, a guide to nurturing your marriage, a book by a man. Some qualities of a good wife include respect. Respecting your husband's needs to feel respected can help him respond lovingly toward you. This is just the Spark Notes version of it. Being able to communicate openly and effectively with your husband can help strengthen your relationship. Being supportive and trusting in your husband can help him achieve his goals and be the best version of himself. Being kind and showing appreciation for your husband can help strengthen your relationship. This is all about the husband. So this is literally all just about pleasing the husband. At a family dinner, she glanced at my plate and said,
Wow, you're not one of those brides obsessed with crash dieting, huh? Good for you.
So she just called you fat. Got it. She food shamed you. I didn't even know how to respond because was that a compliment? An insult? Both?
Are you insulting me?
Yeah, she's like, honestly, she's an artist at these backhanded compliments. She constantly forgets basic things about me. She introduces me to people like I'm an afterthought.
This is James' fiance, Sarah, right? She works with numbers or something.
Like she forgot your name? I'm a data analyst. I've told her this multiple times. She just doesn't care to remember. She sounds like a peach. The worst part, James doesn't see it. Yeah, because I'm sure that she maybe doesn't do it in front of him, or maybe he's so used to it he doesn't see, or maybe he's just pandering to her. I don't know. Every time I try to talk to him, he says,
"That's just how she is."
Or
she doesn't mean it like that.
He's not a mama's boy. He's just blind to the subtle stuff because he's grown up with it. And to be fair, women who are like this don't really treat men like this. That's reserved for other women, that kind of treatment. My family, they're the keep the peace type. My mom literally said,
She's probably just nervous about losing her son. Don't take it personally.
Okay, but why does her anxiety have to become my emotional punching bag? No, it doesn't. The only person who's been truly in my corner is my maid of honor, Lena. She's the kind of friend who would fight a bear for me. She's witnessed Karen's behavior firsthand and has even called her out in the most polite, cutting way imaginable. Basically my hero. Right, because like, I was even just talking about this to my psych. I think women are much more emotionally focused than men.
I'm feeling emotional.
Not more emotional, just like much more perceptive about certain behaviors because we've witnessed it firsthand, okay? Like we've all met a woman who is like this and you only recognize it until you've seen it yourself. Men tend to be like almost like ignorance is bliss sort of thing. Like they don't seem to be as like quick to see a threat in the same way that women are. But like, make no mistake, when you sense that there's some sort of threat or like the energy is just off, girl, you're right. You're right. You're right. I'm telling you right now, you're right. She's also been gently trying to push me towards standing up for myself. I would actually like kind of agree with her.
Stand up for yourself.
You're also sort of like letting her talk to you this way. Not to say you deserve it. It's almost like she thinks you're too weak to stand up for yourself, so she just sees you as an easy target. And maybe if you did, she'd respect you a little more. This kind of reminds me of like Matthew McConaughey's wife and how his mother-in-law absolutely hated his wife for the longest time until she talk back to her and then all of a sudden now they're besties. That's what I think of when I think of this. Now here's the thing. I've seriously considered calling off the wedding, but the idea of doing that, absolutely terrifying. Not just because I love James, but because dealing with the fallout sounds like my worst nightmare. The awkward conversations, the disappointment, the feeling of having failed, it's enough to make me want to crawl under a blanket and never come out. I can totally agree with you on that. I just also feel as though I really wish your husband, or your future husband rather, was a little more, like affirmed you a little more in how you feel. Because you're not crazy. You're not. It also would probably help if he said something too, and it wasn't just up to you to stand up for yourself.
Talk to your mother.
Standing up to a bully is hard. When bullies feel like they're wrong, and they feel wrong because other people, like, you've got backup, right? You're not as easy of a target anymore. That's why I feel so strongly about like when someone is getting bullied, I tend to be on the side of the person who's getting bullied, because I never had anybody that stepped up for me, because I know that all it would have taken for the bullying to stop would be for someone to stand up for me. So I always try to be that person, because that's literally all it takes for a bully to back off. At the same time, I'm scared of walking down the aisle with this giant pit in my stomach, knowing I ignored every red flag because I was too afraid to speak up. So potatoes, am I overreacting? Is this normal wedding stress that everyone deals with? There's a difference between an overbearing mother-in-law and a mother-in-law that really just doesn't like you at all. Even if she doesn't like you, she's got to bite her tongue and suck it up, because she's not marrying you at the end of the day.
It's always about the mother.
Or am I ignoring something that's only going to get worse after the vows are said? I need opinions from people who aren't biased because I feel like I'm losing my mind here. Yes, ending the wedding at this point, I think is extreme, but like I do feel as though I don't like how your husband is handling this. I don't like that he's not sticking up for you at all. And I don't like that this mother-in-law has just like literally gone balls to the wall. She could be like overtly mean, but she does it in like a sneaky way. I almost feel like she's trying to get rid of you. Like she's trying to make it so difficult for you so that you second guess like everything. I don't think that she wants you to marry her son. Okay, we do have an update. Hey potatoes, I wanted to give you an update, and things have definitely shifted in the past day. After reading through all the comments, it was clear I had to talk to James first, but I'll be honest, I needed a boost. So before talking to James, I called my brother for his perspective. I thought thought he'd be on my side, but he gave me a reality check instead. He said he couldn't believe I was seriously considering canceling the wedding over a few comments from my mother-in-law. He told me if that was the only reason I was planning to cancel something so huge as a wedding, I needed to take a serious step back. He basically told me that no one is perfect and relationships, especially marriage, involve compromise. I mean, yeah, not compromise in this respect though. Like lots of compromises to like toward the greater good. But at the end of the day, if you don't have a partner who, you know, is willing to back you up when you're hurting, I feel like that's a much wider issue. He said the wedding is a huge deal and I shouldn't rush to make a decision over something that could be worked through. I mean, you could try. You could definitely try to talk to her and talk to your fiance. Then he said something that hit home.
This is how you always are. You have no opinions until the very last moment, and you freak out when you realize how it's actually a problem and won't go away just because you don't react to it.
I didn't realize that this was a problem, but looking back, wow, he was so right. And honestly, I didn't realize I had a pattern of letting things build up until I can't take it anymore and then I panic. That's something I need to work on. I mean, I would say to a certain degree, I kind of get not reacting because it might not be like a serious, you look for patterns, right? Like one person can make like a passive aggressive comment and it doesn't mean that that's how they feel about you or who they are. Over time, you start to realize that that's who that person is. So I feel like acting kind of, you know, I also like probably would approach it in the same way because you really don't know until you have more information how someone feels about you or how you feel about them. But I agree. I think that maybe there could have been maybe some boundary setting on your part up until now. And if those boundaries were not respected, then I would, you know, absolutely say like you need to really reconsider this marriage. But anyways, let's carry on. Carry on my wayward son. After that conversation, I went straight to James. I'm terrible at confrontations and I tend to get emotional, so I decided to write him a letter and get everything off my chest. I told him how hurt I was by his mom's comments, how I felt unsupported when he didn't take me seriously, and how worried I was about moving forward with the wedding if things don't change. When we sat down after he read it, he told me how hurt he was that I jumped straight into thinking about canceling the wedding without talking to him first. He felt blindsided, like I didn't give him a chance to be a part of the conversation. Again, wow, you guys were so right about actually talking it through with him. I mean, I think that you did try to tell him though. That's why it's like, I understand him feeling like,
I really wish that you talked to me.
I think that you tried to talk to him. Maybe he didn't realize how serious it was for you. He admitted he didn't realize how much his mom's behavior was affecting me. He agreed that it wasn't okay, good, and he shouldn't have brushed off my feelings. At the same time, he explained how much he loved his mom and how worried he is about making things worse if he steps in too hard. Still, he promised he would back me up when I need him. Okay, I feel like this is good. This is good, right? I don't know. I'm not satisfied with that. You can't just let people walk all over you and the people that you love because you're worried about confrontation. It's clear to me that now I've been expecting James to handle things with his mom that I need to address myself. I can't rely on him to fix everything. I need to step up and handle some of this on my own. Okay, good. I like that. Next, we're planning on having a private conversation with his mom. I'm not sure how much it will help, but having James there for support can only make things easier. Thanks again, Potatoes, for all your advice. You really helped me find the courage to have these tough conversations. And I talked to him about a couples therapy. He felt we didn't need it, but we booked a session just to see if it would help. I'm not sure what the conversation with Karen would be like, but like everyone pointed out, I should deal with it first instead of imagining the worst and suppressing it. Okay, good. Not sure what that looks like, and even just writing this is making me hyperventilate. And I want to puke, but as I've been advised so many times by you guys, that's the right thing to do. Okay, let's look at some of these responses. OP, I'm so sorry. Your fiance will never have your back and your future mother-in-law will just get worse because he can't or won't set boundaries. It's time to have an honest conversation so he fully understands how serious this is for you. If he doesn't see the issue, then I think you have your answer. So this person quoted,
Every time I try to talk to him, he says that's just how she is or she doesn't mean it like that.
I'm sorry, but it's not a mother-in-law problem. This is a fiance problem. That is not to say anything about her is good. It's not, but your problem is that hubby doesn't and will never have your back. This is gonna be your life. Baby names, whatever mom wants or doesn't want. She will ruin every single surprise you ever have. Every future celebration will be about her. Your house will be near them.
But babe, it makes more sense this way.
She will shove in the trash whatever food contributions you bring to Thanksgiving. She will gaslight you until you can't take it anymore and you'll be labeled the crazy one. I'd go further and say it's not even all on the fiance and mother-in-law. This is also on OP for letting it slide. Call her her out on comments. What do you mean by that? Are you really trying to be nice? Because that sounded mean to me. You know what you do when someone makes like kind of like a passive aggressive remark? And I learned this from my mother-in-law. Sorry, I don't understand. And you make them explain it. Do it in front of somebody else. So they have to explain what they meant in front of somebody else. It makes them feel stupid and mean. All right, we have one hell of an update here. My mother-in-law is a nightmare. And now the wedding is canceled, not by me. Hey potatoes! Well, I'm back with one last update, and trust me, I didn't see this one coming either. Strap in because it's a ride. First, thank you to everyone who supported me through my last post. Reading your comments made me feel so validated, and honestly, it gave me the push I needed. So here's what happened after that. James and I decided it was time to have the dreaded talk with Karen. I wasn't exactly thrilled, but we both knew we couldn't keep ignoring it. Spoiler, it went about as well as you'd expect. Let me guess, she played the victim and she gaslit you. We sat down and explained how her constant digs and helpful comments were hurtful and unnecessary. She, of course, denied everything.
I'm just being honest. You're too sensitive.
And my personal favorite,
I'm only trying to help you be a better wife.
yeah, she actually said that. It's all the same, eh? They're all the same. James tried to back me up, but every time, see, this is another reason why, like, I have conflict resolution issues. It's because every time, a lot of the time, when I've tried to resolve conflict, this is an actual disorder, eh? I've been diagnosed, apparently. When I've tried to resolve conflict, it has not gone well. You hope that people apologize, that they hear you out, that, you know, there's this like, almost like it brings you closer. And I've never really met too many people who I've been able to have like an honest conversation with, tell them how I feel, and they really genuinely hear me out and apologize. And, you know, they might come up with an excuse or two, but a lot of the time people gaslight. They gaslight, they make you feel like you're the one, like your reaction to them is the problem. It's not. Like having this issue with conflict resolution, also feeling like you can't ever resolve conflict because most people don't ever listen to you or try to resolve that conflict themselves, it makes it hard for you to have conflict in the first place in your life. So James tried to back me up, but every time he did, she pulled the whole
So you're choosing her over your own mother.
guilt trip.
Yes, I am.
It was exhausting. After an hour of going in circles, we realized nothing was going to change. Honestly, I've never seen James so irritated in my life. So we just stopped responding. No calls, no texts, nothing. And let me tell you, Karen did not take it well. She left endless voicemails, sent passive-aggressive texts, and even showed up at our place once. We didn't let her in. God, I've never seen her so pissed off. I'll be honest, I was so happy about how I was actually getting to her. Nothing I said seemed to annoy her as much as not reacting to her did. Yeah, I mean, she's not getting her way probably for the first time ever, right? We expected some fallout, but what happened next? We never saw it coming. Karen got into a massive argument with another family member. We're still not 100% clear what sparked it. Something about money, family heirlooms, who knows? But it escalated fast. And then the cops got involved. I beg your finest pardon? Yeah. Actual police. From what we've pieced together, Karen lost it. We're talking threats, some property damage, and just complete chaos. Next thing we knew, there were legal charges being filed. It still doesn't feel real. Wait, against Karen? Karen has the legal charges? James and I were floored. My parents couldn't believe it either. My mom kept saying, we knew she was difficult, but this? Yeah, same. I still can't believe she did something like this. It seems so different from usual. Well, I mean, she kind of seems like a bully, though. She kind of seems like a bully, and she seems like someone who, when confronted and when she doesn't get her way, she would do anything it takes to get her way. So it actually doesn't surprise me that she would get physical. I honestly think this is something more than the small issue everyone is making it seem like, because she actually got physical. With all this going on, the wedding quickly became the least of our worries. After a lot of long talks and even longer silences, because how do we react to this, James and I decided to cancel it. Okay, well, I'm glad that you, in the end, it kind of seems like you're not the villain. How could anyone think you're the villain now? We canceled not because we don't love each other, we do, but we need time to process everything, figure out boundaries, and honestly just breathe. Yeah, I wouldn't want that kind of surrounding my wedding either. We're still together and we're starting therapy, both individually and as a couple. There's a lot to unpack and we both need to heal from this. So yeah, that's where we're at. Your advice and support got me through some really tough moments. This is my last update, but I'll always be grateful for this little corner of the internet. Oh, I'm glad to hear. I'm so glad that like this subreddit has like not only become a source of entertainment for you guys, but also like, I don't know, a source for you guys to like support each other through your tough times. Cause like I can't get to every story. I really can't. It's nice that you guys are still in here supporting each other and like helping each other through your problems. Like that makes me really, really happy. You can secretly get legally married and then have the fancy reception after the wedding ceremony just for show when you're ready. That's what I did and it was perfect. It worked for us. Yeah, I mean, you could just elope. Maybe, you know, a nice like extended honeymoon is exactly what you guys need in addition to some therapy, but sounds like everyone's just like, just do it, get married. If you really want to get married, then have a friend do it or go down to the courthouse. However, based on your post, I'd be wary of getting legally tied to that psycho mother-in-law. Waiting might be the smartest thing for you to do right now. I mean, that is a very good point. I like that you ended up not being the villain here. I like that you guys are still together. I like that he has been enlightened by who she really is. It's just, how do you move forward right now? That's the question. That's the big question mark, right? I'm happy to hear, I mean, it ended up being that you canceled the wedding anyway, but for external factors, at least it's not over, you know, not loving your fiance.
My mom just told me we need to put our stimulus money under the mattress because we can't let the government know that we have money by putting it into a bank. The money that the government sent us, the money they direct deposited directly into our bank account.
Genius, genius, genius.
It's always unfortunate when your in-laws are conspiracy theorists. Always a little unfortunate, you know what I mean? It's unfortunate when you don't agree with them politically. This mother-in-law, whose son-in-law should probably sleep with one eye open. My mother-in-law just served me this piece of cake.
Die.
I'm gonna kill you.
No, she didn't. Oh my gosh. Do you think that's on purpose? Of course, she's your mother-in-law. Of course it's on purpose. I can just picture her coming up to you like, here, sweetie. Hurt my daughter. I'll chop it off. I think I'll make a really fun mother-in-law. My mother-in-law is why you can't find paper goods. This is only one of 4 rooms. So she's the one that was buying up all the TP at the beginning of the pandemic, huh? She was the one getting into fights with people at Costco.
Oh my God, is that a sample?
That's a nice stash. Maybe she takes really, really monstrous poops. She's like, I can't be without it. I can't. This mother-in-law who dragged every single working millennial with the way she referred to her son-in-law's job. How mother-in-law communicates my profession in her annual holiday letter. I love watching her instill in blank disciplines I tried to. Still works at home doing computer whatever. Just computer whatever. Those computer things. My mother-in-law was complaining that she couldn't get the coffee grinder to work. This is a pencil sharpener. Your point? And in her defense, it does look like a coffee grinder and might actually do the same thing. Those beans are just looking a little big, you know what I'm saying? Maybe put some espresso. My mother-in-law, is this true? Spread the word, save a life. What's really in tattoo ink? Mold, rubella, tear gas, toxic hemp chemicals, viper venom, shards of glass, sharp, anthrax flakes, addiction, bodily fluids of Mexican cannabis manufacturers, 91.5% pure sin, rat poison, dihydrogen monoxide. You know, I think that you would like it to be true, but it's not. Posted by my dear sweet mother-in-law. You don't need a billboard to see her coming. Love yourself as much as you love toxic men with I agree with this one. I agree with her. Okay, so next one, we're gonna watch a video that we've seen before on this channel, but honestly, this video would not be complete without it. Karen objects at her own son's wedding.
You're not gonna say my son has flaws.
You can leave.
Perfect. No, I don't have to leave. That dress you're wearing, we paid for.
Let's calm down.
You're not gonna ruin my day.
You are not gonna say my son has flaws.
Everybody has flaws and that's why I love them. You can leave, Judy.
Like you don't have flaws.
Judy.
You can get out of my wedding now.
I'm not leaving. That dress you're wearing, I paid for.
Get out.
I'm not getting out. Try it, and I'll have you arrested.
Tony, get her out of here. This is not right.
Come on, Tony.
Oh my God.
This is not your day. It's
Wow.
not about you. No, but she's not going to talk about my son.
Well, that's gonna be a really fun relationship. Imagine having the audacity to interrupt your own son's wedding vows to object to a wedding. To his wedding. Where do some people find the audacity? Like, do they find it at Walmart or something? It seems to be readily available, especially in this video. All right, settle down, kids. I'm finally ready to laugh at the story, so I figured I would share. Mother-in-law wore the dress I wanted as my wedding dress to my wedding.
How dare you? She's a nice lady.
My mother-in-law isn't quite horrible. She toes the line, but for the most part, she isn't interested in us, and we take that as a blessing. When we got engaged, she suddenly became interested because this woman loves a party. She went wedding dress shopping with me, and I found this gorgeous sheath dress, but I ultimately didn't feel comfortable in it. It's the type of dress that will cling to your tummy if you have one, but I was heartbroken and I loved it. Mother-in-law really liked it too, though I didn't know how much until I saw her wearing it on my wedding day. In her defense, she got rose gold, not white, but it was still a what the f moment for me. Okay, at least she didn't get the white one, okay? I thought that's where you were headed with this. It's still pretty mean. Oh my god. Well, it looks good on me, so. It's like those friends that like take the clothes that you love the most and then like totally ruin them. Or maybe they say, oh, but it looks so much better on me, honey. But to do it at your own wedding?
That's tacky.
We got married at her beach house, and I think mother-in-law thought it was some celebration of her vow renewal. She invited so many of her own friends there was no room in the house for my guests, who she offered to house. She drank at the rehearsal dinner like it was some type of frat party, fell in the pool, and then made a very moving, sweet speech about how great father-in-law is. I barely got any sleep the night before the wedding because she had a drunken sleepover with her BFFs in the next room. And the morning of, she disappeared to go sunbathe, leaving me alone to organize the weddings she so desperately wanted. Mother-in-law spent my wedding fawning over her husband, all lovey-dovey like she was the bride, and posing under the flower arch in my crossed out her dress, which honestly looked killer on her. Aw, that's so nice of you still. I held on to that anger for a long time, but I was looking through some old pictures the other day and I'm finally ready to laugh, so let's shame my mother-in-law.
Big whoop. Wanna fight about it?
This video would not have been complete without this story, so I thank you for mustering up the courage to be able to laugh at it and share it on social media so we can laugh at it as well. Ah, so funny! Next monster. A toxic family stopped the wedding ceremony in the middle, saying it's custom. This is my parents' wedding. I wasn't around but saw all the photos and heard the stories from both sides. It was an arranged marriage. My dad's parents had passed away some years ago, so his eldest brother and his wife arranged for the marriage. The problem is that dad was one of the few earning members in the family, and another of his brother's wife was against the marriage because she and her husband were unemployed, and a new member in the family will reduce their share.
What is wrong with you?
It all gets messy when the will comes out, doesn't it? So during the ceremony when my dad was gonna put vermilion on my mother's forehead, Hindu wedding step, the sister-in-law stopped it saying the wedding is over and that's the family's custom. It wasn't. This is like stopping the wedding before I say I do. Well, it was fixed the day after by the elders in the family when my mom was made fun of as half-wed. She was too timid back then. Holy cannoli! Monster sister-in-law. Quite possibly even worse than a monster mother-in-law. Garlic is an offensive odor. Allow me to breathe in your face. Currently in an argument over the side dish my fiance and I chose for our wedding reception. We chose garlic mashed potatoes as a side. What are your thoughts about that? My mom hates the idea of garlic mash and wants us to swap our side dish for red skinned potatoes. Curious how you guys feel about it. I'm not married to the idea of garlic mash, but we had it at the tasting and it was yummy. Edit. Mom's argument. Garlic mashed potatoes is just not appropriate for the occasion. The wedding is an elegant affair and it will be tainted by the smell of garlic. The whole venue will smell of garlic, and that is anything but pleasant or elegant. We ask the guests to dress in formal attire and then subject them to the smell of garlic. We will be spending a few hours there. Eat it! Put some breath mints on the table or something? I don't know. Dude, garlic's delicious. Secret to good cooking is garlic and butter. It's all it takes. Wow. Feeling insecure from the flower girl, a kid. I wouldn't want her wearing one because even though she's just a little girl, it takes attention away from the bride and groom. It's disrespectful in my eyes. You mean attention away from the bride and groom or attention away from you? It's a bit weird. You feel outshined by a child. Mother-in-law wanted to wear this to the wedding. She told me it was my decision and then was surprised I picked something completely different. But she's not that mad because she offered to let me borrow her garter.
Ew, gross.
Like, do people not have some, like, a little bit of social decorum at all? Is that completely lacking in this society? Because I feel like this is like a trend. Like, it's floor length as well, you know what I'm saying? It's a bit weird. How my mother-in-law loads my dishwasher. How does someone like this even function as an adult? Okay, that's weird. Usually they're the ones that are really, really picky about how you, like, clean, you know? So that's odd. But then it's gonna, there's gonna be water in the bowl. Anyone else feel like the foreshadowing of Charlotte being a monster-in-law? Oh no, I'm never getting married. I'm just gonna be the cool aunt, you know what I mean? I'm just gonna be the cool aunt that shows up at the party and drinks the free liquor, probably jumps in the pool naked. Not a big deal. Put up with me. You love me, so you put up with me. My drunk mother-in-law ate all of the skin and leg off of the fried turkey before it was served. That's fair though. That's so fair. It's the best part. Oh my god. My mother-in-law eats one bite of a new banana every morning and leaves the rest on the counter in case anyone wants one. Oh no. Oh, yummy. I just love eating your leftovers. Thank you for that. Hi, did you get your birthday card? Not yet. I'll check again. Call you in a bit. I sent it last Tuesday. I would never forget you on your birthday. Hope you're happy to let your spouse come between us. I thought we were closer than that. Love you forever. Merry frickin' Christmas. Hope I die before next year. No worries. That was a whirlwind of emotions and that was all on the same day? What is happening? Oh my goodness.
Calm down. Everybody needs to calm down.
That's just totally mildly controlling. Just a little bit. This note that arrived with an Etsy order is the greatest thing that ever happened to me. WTF Peggy. Thank you. I hope my daughter-in-law packaged these up good. She can't do anything right. Peggy. What the hell, Peggy? Calm down. Peggy. Peggy's a savage, dude. Dude. Chill.
Mother-in-law shows up after 25 years and expects to be accepted as a grandmother. I'm a single father. I've raised my son alone because when he was just a few days old, his mother suddenly decided she didn't want a child anymore. She claims she's not ready to have a child and just refused to even feed him or hold him. I wanted to give her some time. I thought that maybe it's just postpartum or something. I was ready to be there for her, but she was serious. She packed her stuff and left the hospital. Her last words were that she wants to see neither me nor our son ever again. I haven't seen her since. And I kind of feel like the mother-in-law had something to do with it because during her pregnancy, she was talking all the time about how young her daughter is and how inappropriate of a moment this is for her to have a child. I don't have any proof. I can't tell anything for sure, but I feel like mother-in-law somehow secretly persuaded her to take this step for whatever reason.
It was all her fault.
So I was left alone with an infant in my hands. It definitely wasn't easy. Oh gosh, that is so awful. I was just 21 years old and I had to leave college and work very hard to give my son everything he needed. Fortunately, I wasn't completely alone. It's interesting to hear this from like a single father's perspective because like I know there's a lot of single mothers who do this too. Not a lot of single fathers. Good for you for not giving up. There were people who helped me get through the hardest period. People who babysat him while I was working, who gave me advice on how to take care of a baby, and I'll forever be thankful to them. When he grew up a little, it became easier. I could send him to a kindergarten and work without asking people to take care of him while I'm not there. During all this time, I hope to hear from his mother. I hope she'd eventually come around and realize you can't just leave your child like a worthless piece of trash. But even though I had left her my contacts and she could call me or write me a letter or something, she didn't. I never heard from her. Oh, that is so hard. Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry. She never once used her rights to visit him. When he was little, he often asked me, why did his mother leave him? Oh no, that is so heartbreaking. No. Why didn't she want him? I'm dying. Oh no. The feels. I'm in my feels. Oh. I didn't know what to answer because I always tried not to speak badly of his mother in front of him.
Yeah, well, maybe you should have.
Now my son is 25. He's a hardworking, educated young man, and I'm so proud of him, and I'm proud of myself that I was able to raise him to be a good person. You should honestly give yourself a pat on the back because that's not easy to do on your own. A lot of people would take a situation like that and use it as a reason to not try. Use it as a reason to fail in life. You blame it on the parents, you blame it on your circumstances, whatever, but I'm really proud of you for sticking to it and raising a very, very wonderful young man.
Because that's what heroes do.
We stopped talking about his mother a long time ago. It was his initiative. He was like, well, if she doesn't want to be with us, then it's her loss and there's nothing we can do about it, period. So recently, mother-in-law appeared on our doorstep. Okay. Without a call, without any kind of notification, she was just there and she'd come to visit her grandson. I couldn't believe my ears, and at first I almost didn't recognize her because so many years had passed. And she was behaving as if she was a caring grandmother who'd come to see her grandchild like she does all the time, not like she was gone for 25 years. It's interesting that she shows up after the child has already been raised. Like, I'm sorry, where were you when I needed a babysitter? When my son saw her, he didn't recognize her either. I've shown him pictures of his mother and his grandmother just in case they show up one day, but never really thought that they would. She ran up to him and hugged him just like a loving grandmother would, asking how he's doing and how big and beautiful he's become, and he pushed her away and looked kind of confused.
Go away!
I told him that's his grandmother who randomly showed up to visit him, and he was like, oh, and walked away from her. Those are some consequences, aren't they? Mother-in-law didn't take this reaction very well. I'm sorry, was he expecting you guys to just kiss and make up and carry on as if nothing happened? She looked at me and was like, what have you taught him if he doesn't say hello to his grandmother? You didn't show up for 25 years. That's not something that he taught him. He's looking at me as if I'm a stranger. That's because you are! You are, babe! He's never seen you before! Haven't you told him about his mother and me and shown him our pictures? Well, technically you are a stranger, mother-in-law. He had never seen you in person, so why are you so surprised? You show up out of thin air after 25 years when he's all grown up and expect him to treat you with love? Isn't it kind of delusional? I would say it is rather delulu. Delululemon, size extra, extra, extra large. My son said, Dad did show me your picture, but I needed no picture. I needed you to be there for me. Period! That's what's up! He was quite hateful with her, throwing question after question at her, and mother-in-law's responses were so incredibly narrow-minded, it looked like she wasn't expecting him to ask any questions. He asked her where his mother was, and mother-in-law was like, oh, she's doing very well. She's living together with a great man, and she has 2 nice kids. She's gotten over that misunderstanding about your birth. I'm sorry, what? Oh, yeah, she's doing great. She's got 2 kids and a nice man. I'm sorry, is that supposed to make him, like, happy for her? I thought she didn't want kids.
Hypocrisy, my friend.
She was acting as if her daughter was the victim here, as if we were the ones who left her. He asked, why did his mother abandon him? Mother-in-law said, well, she was such a young girl. It would be craziness for her to have a child at that age. She had her whole life ahead of her and a baby would have only been an obstacle. You must understand it. She didn't want to lose her freedom.
What a load of crap.
Listen, I don't know the circumstances, but like, it was 25 years too. There was no contact with this son. There was no contact with the father. She clearly grew up to the point where she wasn't young anymore. Why couldn't she have shown up later in life? Honestly, her daughter was older than me when our son was born. She was 24. I don't think it's too early to have a child. It's not like she was 14 or something. Actually, age has nothing to do with it. I could have given up my son too. I was very young as well. That's what's up. Why is it up to you? Why does she only care about her own youth? But I didn't because I loved him and I wanted to be his father. At this point, I wanted to show mother-in-law the door. Obviously, she wasn't welcome in our house, but my son stopped me. He had one more question. He asked why mother-in-law didn't want to be his grandmother. His mother left him, fine, but why did mother-in-law leave too? Mother-in-law said, well, I had no time to take care of you. I was a young woman too. I had my life too. Oh, poor you. And grandkids are only obligated to take care of grandparents when they're old, and that's why I'm here. Oh, isn't that funny? Something tells me that's not gonna happen. The audacity! The delusion! Then my son told her to leave and never come back. He said he doesn't want to ever see her again and he won't help her with anything. As she was leaving, she attacked me like, that's what I thought. A man alone can't raise a proper human being. Oh, right? Okay, so then where were you? Such a rude and impolite boy. He would have turned out better in an orphanage than with you.
Get the fuck out of here.
I don't think so. It's funny that you're making judgments about how he's choosing to raise his son when you literally were not there at all. According to mother-in-law, the conclusion is don't have children while you're young, or if you do, feel free to leave them and then come back a few decades later and they'll love you even though they have never received any kind of care from you. But seriously, what was she expecting? A meal ticket, babe. That's all kind of messed up. Hella delulu. I commend you, sir. I know that you're just an anonymous Redditor, but I commend you for not giving up and for, sticking with it and raising this young man to be a stand-up gentleman like yourself. Good on ya, mate. I like how there's an entire Reddit thread just about delusional mother-in-laws. Why are they all so delulu? Husband somehow got me to agree to host my mother-in-law and foster baby, father-in-law and sister in our home with 2 littles and a dog. So mother-in-law arrives with 4 suitcases for a 1-week stay. Oh. Were they full of hats? Lots of hats, eh?
Hats.
I let it go. I don't have to unpack her, so I don't care. She sets up in the guest suite above the garage because I've just successfully sleep trained my children, and I will walk out of this house and never come back if someone f***s that up. Oh, you put her in the garage, eh? I lived in a garage once. It wasn't fun. Oh, those were the days. Everyone else is in the main house and knows that there's silent hours between 7 and 7, and I have a knife. No problems. There's little comments here and there about my son likes his potatoes like this, and I make my stuffing this way, to which I just hand her whatever cooking tool I was using and say, thanks for taking over, I appreciate it, and take a nap. I feel like you've got this down to a science. Put her in the garage so you don't have to see her, and then give her whatever cooking tool you're using if she complains about the cooking. Love it. Love it. It's been a great time. I'm not even kidding. I've gotten so many naps. Christmas Day arrives and I'm cooking up a storm, singing my Jewish heart out to Christmas music. The tree is trimmed, the stockings are full of whatever MLM my mother-in-law has bought into. Last year, all of our colons were squeaky clean. Wait, your colons?
Why'd it have to be the colon?
What is that? Okay, all right. You're not going to elaborate? All right. Father-in-law is already drunk. Good times, many blessings. We have a delicious Christmas brunch and she even praises my cinnamon rolls. I bought them. Don't you guys say a word to her. Kids are all excited for gifts. We open, we thank, we say, oh, that's too much. I love your writing, babe, so creative. And then thump, 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 3 of mother-in-law's suitcases come rolling in. Husband kindly asked me to stop speculating that there's a body in there. I mean, that's a fair assumption, I'm not gonna lie. She then proceeds to open up the suitcases and alas, no body. Just clothes. An entire new wardrobe, from underthings to coats, boots to slippers, new socks even, all for me. For you, the tags are still on, all in a size I haven't been in or would want to be in since middle school. Ta-da! It's your goal clothes. She even did spirit fingers. Your goal clothes. Absolutely not. You mean to tell me that this mother-in-law bought you an entire new wardrobe of small clothing that you cannot fit into to encourage you to lose weight? Ain't that a kicker? I was at first gonna be like so happy about it. I was like, oh wow, she bought you a new wardrobe. That is so nice. Why is she even in this video? Oh, I see. This woman bought me a whole new wardrobe as if our house had burned down or something. I'm very comfortably a size 12 to 14 and I'm happy to lose 20 pounds eventually, but I'm never gonna fit into a size 4. Buddy, I have never been a size 4. I went from like a baby to a size 6. And especially when you get to a point where you're like older, your hips are a lot wider, you know? That's just kind of what happens with women's bodies. They get like wider. A lot of women, not all women, but many of us. She's beaming with her wrinkly smoker's mouth. She left the tags on purpose. I know her cheap wants me to blow up and she'll just return it. Wow, is that what is going on here? She just wants you to get mad? So I smile and hug her and exclaim over them. I bring them into my room and cut off all the tags. She's watching me like a hawk. Oh, that's diabolical. The next day, I pack the clothing up, all professional garb and super pretty cocktail dresses, because me living in leggings and hoodies and sundresses is somehow unappealing and unacceptable. I thump the luggage down the stairs, wave to her, and I bring the entire thing to a woman's shelter. And that, my friends, is how it's done. I come back and she's ready to start her screaming. I go up to her and hug her again and tell her she's changed so many women's lives with those clothes. It'll be easier for them to find work. I tell her she's a good person, generous, kind, skinny. Yeah. Just the icing on top. You're so skinny, babe. You look like a supermodel.
Like, you're perfect, you're beautiful, you look like Linda Evangelista, you're a model.
We watch a movie as a family. She left last night looking miserable. I've been celebrating with Chinese food, as you should, babe. Happy New Year's, my friends. May your mother-in-law's time be short on your husband's in the will. Incredible! Why do we gotta be so passive-aggressive about it? Why do you gotta live up to like the evil mother-in-law, monster-in-law standard? I just don't get it. If you wanna see your grandkids, you'll back the f*** off and let me eat my cinnamon bun. Mother-in-law gifted me laser tattoo removal for my birthday. I don't want them removed. Yikes. Why do they all do this passive-aggressive gift? Oh my god! It's kind of like a mother-in-law getting you a scale, you know? Like if you smell bad, they like get you like perfume. It's like, oh babe, you need this. I just wanted to get you something you need. I got you a subscription at Weight Watchers. Just found the subreddit, had to share this story. My husband, 43 male, and I, 31 female, have been married for 3 years, together for 6. Obviously, there's an age gap between my husband and I, which has never been an issue for us. My mother-in-law, however, has greatly disapproved and likes to talk to me like I'm a rebellious teenager instead of her son's life partner. A big issue for her is the fact that I have tattoos. I love all my tattoos. They're well done and a huge part of my identity. I can't imagine myself without them, and my husband loves how they look on me. Mother-in-law made a few comments while we were dating, but my husband told her privately to drop it. Why does it matter? It's not like she's dating you. If you got a problem with tattoos, just don't get them. That's like the narcissism, you know? She doesn't want her friends to talk about the fact that her daughter-in-law is like a rebel, a goth, a delinquent with tattoos. She's probably part of a gang. 3 years ago, my husband and I hosted our families for my birthday dinner. It was our first big get-together after getting married, and everyone was nice enough to bring me a gift. I was gonna open them after everyone left, but mother-in-law handed me an envelope at dinner and insisted I opened it immediately. Oh no, in front of everyone? That is so embarrassing. For her, not you, babe, her.
Oh, well, that's embarrassing.
Inside was a card and a gift certificate to a local tattoo removal business for $500. I was confused and asked her what this was for. She said that since I was a married woman now and planning to have kids, she assumed I would want my tattoos removed.
Wrong.
I'm sorry. What does she think tattoos are? Like a stamp? You know, just like, me, I'm eligible. How do those two things correlate? I don't get it. Both my husband and I were kind of taken aback and stunned. I half-heartedly thanked her and the party continued. Later, my husband called her and told her off. She refused and insisted I would want it someday. Why is it your business? It has nothing to do with you. Mother-in-laws are experts in not minding their business, in being in everyone's dang business but their own. 3 years later, her $500 is sitting in my kitchen junk drawer. A junk drawer. Say that 5 times fast. Junk drawer. And I've added 3 more tattoos to the collection. Yes! Yes, queen. I was hoping that you would get more tattoos. Why not? Get a face tat. Get a nice little tramp stamp. Just an obscene one, you know? Like, make her so uncomfortable. Mother-in-law falsely accuses father-in-law on our wedding day, then was removed from the venue after insulting me for my health issues. Interesting. Ooh, I kicked you, sorry. I got some Uggs on. They're really fat. They're big booties. For context. Love context. My mother-in-law left her sons, then got divorced from my father-in-law when my husband and his brother were very young, and they lived almost full-time with their dad. Their mom bounced around all over the place and was in and out of their lives until they were teenagers and she met her now husband, which is when she finally stopped being verbally and physically her. Can't say that on YouTube, but it's... They didn't particularly enjoy their time with their mom. She often talks crap about their dad and makes up stories to try and gain sympathy. My husband, 28, and I have only seen her about 20 times or so in the last 7 years we've been together. She's hard to be around for a list of reasons boiling down to she's very negative and she's great at twisting stories, especially stories from the past. I know this post is long and I'm sorry for that. Oh, don't apologize, Bessie. I love a long post.
Never apologize, mister.
I love a long story. I cut a lot of details and tried to summarize as much as possible. But if you've ever had a mother-in-law like mine, or just really enjoy toxic mother-in-law stories, you might enjoy this read too. I think I will. Before our wedding, I was getting ready in the bridal suite with my bridesmaids and the other family members when my mother-in-law waltzed in. She said she wanted to hang out with me before the ceremony, so I sat down and talked to her for a minute. When mother-in-law was done going on about how excited she was for her big day too, she praised her boys for becoming the men they are today and said that she raised them right and was happy they turned out so well despite their dads towards her and them.
Please don't do this.
I was so dumbfounded, I just meekly said, "Excuse me." She said, "Oh, you didn't know that?" Like a teenage mean girl gloating to her ex-best friend that the boy she likes is going to prom with her instead. I don't like where this is going. To clarify, my father-in-law never hurt anyone, let alone his ex-wife and sons. Ooh, that's a difficult game to be playing. That is not a game we want to play. It's funny how she's projecting. When mother-in-law said the harush toward her and the boys was the reason she left, that she didn't want her boys to be around that. I had enough. Her lies were getting so big she wasn't even able to follow logic anymore to make it make sense. I stopped her and said I was sorry for what she went through, but asked if we could talk about it later because I only wanted to talk about happy things that day, period, as you should. She says she understood that, but she felt like she needed to warn me before I officially started calling them family, and that I should be careful about what I believe because
my boys make up lies about me and were brainwashed by their dad.
Interesting that she chose your wedding day to like come and warn you about these things. Like, what does she want you to do? Just like leave? I told mother-in-law I'm sorry, but I wasn't comfortable with the conversation and tried to end things there. But mother-in-law wouldn't let me go. She talked about how she used to be close with my husband's ex and she wanted us to be like that. My sister couldn't hear any more of this, so she walked over and told me we needed to finish getting ready and suggested that mother-in-law go visit her son in the groom's quarters. Mother-in-law insisted she would rather stay. Ooh, she kind of sounds like a dark cloud just ready to on your parade. The expression is rain on your parade, but I like the image of poo-poo more. I told her I really appreciated spending time with her before the wedding, but I wanted to spend some time alone with just my family and my bridesmaids to finish getting ready. And I'm sure my husband would like to see her too. Mother-in-law looked at me like I had just spit in her face and offended her entire ancestral line. I unknowingly opened her floodgates of fury. She accused me of poisoning her son against her. Oh, that took a turn. I thought we were like
besties.
I thought you guys were like
BFF
in the bridal suite. That I'm the reason he never visits or calls. I wouldn't go that far. I said that's not how my husband and I see it, and we could all talk about that later, but I would really appreciate it if she left the bridal suite for now. Mother-in-law went on about how messed up it is that I'm stopping a son from seeing his mother, and I'm an insult to women for treating her this way, especially since she was a victim. It doesn't really, there's a time and a place to be talking about stuff like this, even if she was a victim. Someone else's wedding day is not that day.
Daddy, chill.
What have I said before on this channel? Do not bring problems to the bride on her wedding day. Ever. My sister called her horrible for saying such terrible and inappropriate things and said no one believes her lies. The room went dead silent, period. Oh, so that shut her up. Mother-in-law accused me of talking crap about her to my family, but I was done holding my tongue. I told mother-in-law it's not that I don't believe her, it's that I didn't want to be standing in our wedding venue in my wedding dress speaking ill of my father-in-law. I wanted this to be a happy day, but I was starting to get upset, and I wanted her to leave the bridal suite for now. Fair boundary. It's interesting how you express a boundary to certain people and they just do not respect that. She was still accusing me of alienating her son against her when my husband and brother-in-law walked through the door with a bridesmaid who had left to get them. The cavalry is here! I was so relieved to see my husband. I didn't even care about the fact that our first look picture was now ruined. He asked what was going on, so mother-in-law turned on the crocodile tears and said she didn't know how things escalated so much. Classic playing the victim.
You're not a victim! Not at all!
She was only trying to have an honest talk with me, and the next thing she knew, I was trying to kick her out of the wedding. I wouldn't say that that's an honest talk. I would say that's more of a talking about her family and trying to convince you not to marry into it. I would say that's what she was doing. She said, I'm so sorry, honey, but I just feel like I'm always being excluded from things and I just couldn't take that from her, not today. I think she respectfully told you before you got irate that she didn't want that kind of energy around her. And I think that is a fair boundary to express. I reassured him I was not trying to kick her out of the wedding. I only asked her if she would leave the bridal suite while I was getting ready because I was feeling uncomfortable with the topic she was discussing, and she wasn't dropping it like I asked. I mean, yeah, you kind of only told her to leave after you said that, please don't talk about this, it's my wedding day, I'd rather only talk about, happy things today. I want to feel, happy. I was in near tears, oh, bestie, from the situation and my anxiety. So my husband asked what exactly made me so upset. I told him I didn't want to talk about it right now. My husband asked his mom to apologize to me for now, and she said she would after I apologized to her first. I told her I was sorry she was hurting, but that's all I was going to apologize for now. She briefly reverted back to her toddler days, waving her arms around in a temper tantrum.
Do you see how rude and disrespectful she is to me? Your dad and her turned you both against me.
My brother-in-law cut her off, asking what their dad has to do with this. My sister said that he didn't want to know, and she didn't even want to repeat the things she said about him. My husband asked if that's what upset me, and mother-in-law insisted she felt she had to warn me about him before we had any kids. It's gonna be a no from me, dog. My husband said that was ridiculous because no one's talked to her about having kids yet. She said she knew my health issues would make it hard for me to get pregnant. Absolutely not! What is your problem? And maybe that's a sign I wasn't meant to become a mom because I would be a horrible mom after the way I treated her. You're done. And if it turns out I'm barren, she hopes my husband will take a step back to look at all the other red flags he ignored. Oh dear. What a high stress situation. This is like literally the exact opposite of what this like. The bridal suite is a very like symbolic thing, you know? Like you're surrounded by the women in your life. They're uplifting you. You're all getting ready for this, honestly, one of the most important days of your life. It's supposed to be this very uplifting, nurturing experience. It's not supposed to be an excuse to talk about people and like bring this like negative energy. Like it's an absolutely not from me. My husband said the only red flags he ignored were hers, and that stops today. He chewed her out for insulting me and trying to use my health issues against me. He called her out for her negative comments and selfish and manipulative behavior and said that's why they don't make more of an effort. Yeah, this is the thing about being like a negative person. There's a lot of people who thrive on negativity. You know, misery loves company, that kind of. Sometimes people just genuinely don't want to be around that. It's so draining to have a friend or someone in your life that is like so unbelievably negative all the time. And they just can't see that like, you know, maybe in their mind, they're trying to connect with you or whatever. But at the same time, not everybody wants to be around that all the time. They want to be around people that uplift them. It was all I could do to try to hide my smile when he told her he wasn't going to let her try to rewrite history anymore. She was like a deer caught in headlights, but her surprised Pikachu face quickly dropped when my husband told her if our wedding day wasn't important enough for her to keep her comments to herself for once, then he didn't want her at that wedding anymore. The magma, the liquid hot magma that was building inside my mother-in-law's volcano finally erupted. She yelled,
"No, we couldn't do this to her, that she deserves to be here."
Like these people are all trying to tell you, Miss Mother-in-Law, to change your behavior or to at least just kind of like reserve that kind of talk for a day that's not a wedding day. And you're not listening.
Stamp a double stamp. You can't triple stamp a double stamp, Lord.
How frustrating. She cried about how unfair this was and she didn't want to miss our big day, that it'll be one more thing she's excluded from and she just can't take it. Okay, well, if you don't want to be excluded from things, maybe you need to listen to other people when they're telling you they don't like your behavior. She tried saying again she has nothing but good intentions and she couldn't believe this was happening. But my brother-in-law wasn't having any of it. He said it was clear that she wanted to make a big scene, show us how upset she was, so she would stop everything and dote on her. Yeah, she's trying to make it about her, honestly. Like she's trying to make this day about her. Even the comment about being like,
her big day
and stuff like that. This is not her wedding. This is not about her and her problems and how everybody hurts her and how she's the victim. Like this is supposed to be a happy day. All she did was remind us why we don't pick up the phone and make more of an effort. My husband and brother-in-law never stand up to their mom because she lives far enough away and we only see her a few times a year. The thing is also like sometimes when you stand up to people like this, they literally just like don't hear you. Like,
not listening. I'm not listening.
They play the victim and then you feel bad and then, you know, like you realize that you can't express boundaries with certain people, which is why you kind of cut off contact because it's like you're trying to communicate and the communication is only one-sided and everybody plays the victim and doesn't take responsibility. It's just easier to not. She lives far enough away and we only see her a few times a year. They never really set any boundaries with her. They find it easier to deal with her toxic behavior in the moment and just move on. So witnessing all of this was like a beautiful Haley's comment for me. I know this is like super negative and maybe she's like, you know, in some ways kind of ruined this moment for you, but I also feel like this kind of had to happen. When mother-in-law said she wasn't leaving until they worked it out, my sister opened the door connecting the venue to the bridal suite and stepped away to make room for 2 security guards. Whoop! To show up. I smiled and winked at my sister who gave me a thumbs up. Mother-in-law was still crying and begging my husband to let her stay, but he said the damage had been done. She turned to the security guards and said they couldn't kick her out because she's the mother of the groom. I'm beg to differ. My husband corrected her and asked her to leave. Security asked her to go with them and she gave us all dirty looks, then started hyperventilating her protests. My husband asked her to please leave again and told her that he'd give her a call after some time. She gave my husband one last dirty look and said he'd regret this before finally walking out with security. Ooh. Something tells me there's a part 2, my friends. Update. I know this was long. If you're still here, thank you for reading it through. My husband and I are going to take some time before he reaches out to her. I'm really on the fence if I even want a relationship with her after all that. Would you leave the door open for her or try to work it out? Or would you steer clear of her altogether? I actually feel like it's quite common for people to not only gaslight, but play the victim when they feel attacked. Doesn't always mean that they're like a narcissist. It's more of just like a feeling of like, you know, when you like tell a little kid that they've done something wrong and they're just kind of like, and they start crying. It's kind of like that. I think that this was a very heightened situation. It might be worth talking to her once everything has calmed down and you could give her like a chance to apologize, but I wouldn't hold your breath. I wouldn't hold your breath. Lots of people are saying steer clear. She's a nutcase. And lots of people are saying cut off all forms of communication with that awful human being and stay far away from her. I mean, yeah, I think that it's easier said than done to do that with regards to like a mother-in-law, future grandmother or whatever. If things calm down and she still doesn't take any responsibility for her actions, then you cut her off. I'm not saying that you shouldn't do that, but like maybe give her like one more chance to explain herself. And then if, you know, you really can't reach a resolution, I have a feeling that you won't, but let's look at the update. Holy cow, that was my first ever Reddit post and I did not expect it to kind of blow up. I wish I would have gone ahead and included a couple more details for extra context that I deleted in an attempt to keep this from being too long. My favorite part of what happened wasn't even my husband standing up for me. I did like that. But when the mother-in-law said to my husband that she had to warn me about his dad, he backfired with, "Oh, I know you're not accusing dad of what it sounds like you're accusing him, especially since you're the only one who ever laid a hand on us." He's never called her out or used that tone with her before when I was present, and it was absolutely beautiful. But anyway, here's the small update since some have been asking. After my mother-in-law finally left, my husband apologized profusely for her behavior and said he honestly didn't think she would ever do something like this. I told him it wasn't his fault and I was proud of him for standing up to her and for me. See, it's kind of nice. It's kind of nice. It's gallant, you know? He came to your rescue. Ooh! Fortunately, the rest of the night went perfectly. Oh, I'm happy to hear that. The only other issue we had was mother-in-law's husband, 2 family members chastising us, then leaving when they heard his mother was removed and why. His mother's sister, however, laughed and said she knew she deserved it. She only wished she could have been there to witness it with popcorn to enjoy. We recently got back from our honeymoon, and so we revisited the issue of his mother after giving it some time. My husband asked if I was comfortable even being in the same room as her now. I told him I thought about it a lot, mostly about how uncomfortable I've always felt around her. It doesn't bother my husband or brother-in-law when she's being insulting or when she attempts to emotionally manipulate them because they say they're used to it and they basically ignore it. Oh, that's sad. I don't know if that's the best way to deal with it, honestly. Even sometimes it's nice to like even say it as a joke, you know, with someone that's kind of being a bully. You're just like, can you like not bully me for just like 1 second? It's been hard for me to sit there and it makes me feel uncomfortable that I'm going along with what I know are lies. So now that he's finally talked about it and opened her eyes to the elephant in the room, I would probably feel more comfortable around her now if she were to actually show remorse for her behavior and respects our boundaries from here on out. And to those who are worried if we have kids, I hope I can put your mind at ease when I tell you my husband already made it clear he will never feel comfortable having her around our kids, unless we're also present. But who knows at that point if we'll be comfortable letting her around them at all. I've talked to my husband more than a few times about why I think he should start standing up to his mom, but I never pushed the issue after he told me the reason he doesn't is because she did something traumatic when he last stood up to her when he was a teenager. See? With people like this, like it's very, very hard to like express boundaries because especially like moms that are kind of like they have narcissistic tendencies, you can't tell them no.
Because they're your mom and you need to like respect your elders and like you wouldn't exist if it weren't for them.
And all these things is like,
oh, I did so much for you, whatever.
They hold it over your head, right? That doesn't mean that they're never wrong. And it doesn't mean that like you as an adult can't tell them when they're hurting you. Like that concept of, oh, mothers and fathers are never wrong really needs to like go away. I've only ever expressed my worry that the lack of boundaries would cause issues. down the line. And my husband acknowledged these past conversations and apologized to me. He said he wishes he made his boundaries clear with her, so maybe she wouldn't feel like she could get away with doing something like that during our wedding. It seems like you have expressed boundaries, and with certain people, they don't respect them. That's the thing. Like, it doesn't matter how many boundaries you express to someone, they don't listen.
Listen.
That's why the no contact thing or the low contact thing is so important. We decided on him calling her to see about going over to her house to talk to her. He's gonna tell her that he will not tolerate any more negativity and manipulation attempts if she's gonna be in his life. And if she can't handle the boundaries, then she's not capable of having a relationship with him or us. He's going over there this week, and I'm genuinely hoping it goes well. I think I will talk to her depending on how my husband's conversation with her will go. That's all for now. Let me know if you would like another update after he talks to her. Absolutely I do. Absolutely I do. I need all the updates. And thankfully we do have a third. Something tells me, prediction, she's not gonna listen. She's gonna play the victim. She's gonna manipulate. She's gonna gaslight. I have hope. I genuinely do hope that she's able to hear him out. And I hope I'm wrong. But let's see. She cost us our security deposit and was planning on sabotaging the wedding. Ooh, okay. What is the tea here? Do I need my teacup? Oh, this is long. It's long and juicy. I just want to take a second to thank you all for your support and advice you've given me, us. I posted this story with my husband and brother-in-law's permission, and they were very receptive, taking a lot of your comments to heart. See, I love that. Even if I don't get to every story, which is, it's very hard to get to every story, I really like that you guys are supporting each other and giving each other advice. That means a lot to me. We're such a good community. They agree that their mother will never change, but they wanted to talk to her to lay everything out. The three of us sat down to talk about what we wanted to say. We thought they were prepared for a conversation with her until I got a phone call from the coordinator for the wedding venue. I know this is a long update, but personally, I think this is the best one yet, and I know you will like how it ends. Subtle foreshadow. The venue coordinator awkwardly told me she regretted to inform me they would be unable to return our security deposit after we violated the damage clause of our contract. Absolutely not. I was obviously confused and asked why. Apparently, their cleanup crew noticed a Mary Jane smell. What's that? From the groom's quarters and found a whoopity whoop in the trash. Any smoking or substance use was strictly prohibited and was stated in the contract to be a violation. I immediately knew what happened before I even spoke to husband. I apologized to the coordinator and explained it was my mother-in-law who was removed from the venue. She said she was sorry to hear about the damper on our special day. Little did we know it was no damper, it was our savior. One of the details I edited out of my original post was when mother-in-law were in the bridal suite, before things started to go sideways, she offered to share her vape pen with me. She told me she brought it for fun and I should let loose, but I told her she couldn't smoke here.
It's not a big deal. It's legal here, right?
Mother-in-law protested. Oh, are we Canadian? It doesn't matter. The venue doesn't allow it and we signed a contract, I reaffirmed. All right, I'll just do it outside later. I'm sorry, but you can't. You can't smoke anything anywhere on the venue, inside or outside. I really was dealing with a toddler. I told husband about the phone call and he explained. She offered the to everyone in the groom's quarters, but they told her we couldn't smoke there. But when they all left to help finish setting up, instead of volunteering to help, mother-in-law and her husband stayed behind to husband and brother-in-law chastised them when they came back and found them and made them throw it out. Husband apologized for not telling me, and he said he didn't want to add any more negativity for me from our day, and he hoped they got the smell out so no one would find out. Ooh, I kicked you, sorry. Got some Uggs on. They're really fat. One person suggested husband and brother-in-law should record the conversation with their mother. And while that was a great suggestion, none of us really felt comfortable doing that. So instead, husband called me and put me on speaker in his pocket so I could listen from the comfort of our home. Husband said he wanted to apologize to her before they got started. He said he was sorry for never being honest about their feelings for her, but before they got into that, they wanted to talk about boundaries. He expressed his disappointment in her smoking when they specifically asked her not to. When brother-in-law told her we had to forfeit the security deposit, her jaw dropped. She blamed the venue for not having any no smoking signs. Okay, so what about the part where you told her that smoking wasn't allowed? Why is it always everyone else's fault? Can we just get over this notion that we can't be wrong? I absolutely cannot stand it when you're in a disagreement with someone and they just can't be wrong. There is nothing wrong with being wrong. I'm never wrong. The way to get rid of a situation where you are in the wrong is to apologize and take accountability. We don't have to be perfect. No one's expecting anybody to be perfect. I'm expected to be perfect, but anyways, that's enough. When we don't take accountability, it just like makes the situation that much worse. Husband and brother-in-law said they were never gonna let her try rewriting history again because they were too old to gaslight. Both brothers affirmed their truth. Mother-in-law said she believed them, but she swore they thought they meant cigarettes. When brother-in-law mentioned that the security deposit was a lot of money, mother-in-law said that she was sorry, but her smoking a little bit shouldn't have been a big deal. And she didn't see the harm since my dad paid for the wedding and he's loaded and he will never miss the money. Yet again, we are not taking accountability. Husband corrected her and told her we paid for much of the wedding costs, including the venue, so she actually cost us money. Mother-in-law asked if he was actually gonna make her pay us back. I mean, that's like honestly kind of the least she can do at this point. You know what? I should. We expressed a clear boundary and you still broke it for your own selfish reasons. And you should be offering to pay me back with an apology. That would be a great way for you to start making amends. But we're not going to put either one of us through asking you to do what's right. We're going to give you the opportunity today to show us you do care about us and our feelings. Mother-in-law shrunk down in a desperate pile of tears, shocked to learn that her sons thought she didn't really care about them and asked how they could possibly think that because she loves them so much. I mean, when you literally don't care about people's feelings and you don't care about affirming their feelings, you kind of show that you care more about your own feelings and how people perceive you more than what you care about other people and their feelings. Husband later brought up the wedding incident and asked what she had to say about that now and what she would say to me if I was there. Mother-in-law resumed crying and said she felt like it was happening all over again, that she felt ganged up on and it was hard to sit and listen to. She said she thought they were coming to apologize for kicking her out of the wedding. Husband finally crossed the line of return. See, I told you I had hope. But I just, at least now you know for sure. In a heightened situation where there's, people feel attacked and stuff like that, it takes a little bit of time for people to calm down. Not everybody's a narcissist. People do get defensive, okay? Being defensive isn't necessarily a sign of narcissism, but refusing to apologize and refusing to take accountability, like playing the victim constantly. I ain't a doctor. I ain't gonna diagnose. But with people like that, there's literally no hope. Like there really isn't. He said he wasn't surprised that she thought that. He admitted that what they were trying to say is that she's selfish and is hard to be around, so we always have to walk on eggshells around her. But they love her and they still want a relationship with her, and while they weren't asking for her to change, they were setting and asking her to respect their boundaries with no pushback when they enforce them. I think toddlers take rules better than my mother-in-law took those boundaries. She argued and yelled everywhere she could. She told them that moms don't need boundaries.
Don't be a fool!
I beg to differ. And she was appalled that they thought it was okay to treat her this way. She raised them better than this. Just because you have a child does not mean that they are indebted to you for the rest of their life, okay?
I brought you into this world to take you out of it.
Yes, you raised them, you probably did a lot for them, etc., but that doesn't mean that you're never wrong.
I am your mother!
It doesn't absolve you of having to take responsibility when you hurt people. She admitted she knew she wasn't the best mom when they were growing up, but she tried her best and loved them with all their heart, and that's all that matters. She told them they don't know how bad things got for her. When she would disappear, it was because she was protecting them. Brother-in-law said that they might believe that, but asked what excuse she had for the herb. Mother-in-law was horrified again at the accusation and fiercely denied any herb. She tried claiming it again, that their dad brainwashed them and he was the culprit, but husband showed her a scar left by one of her long nails, proving it was her. Mother-in-law said she disciplined them as any other mother would and never meant to hurt them. Husband just scars easily. She tried joking about how they were bad boys. Oh, Jesus. Husband and brother-in-law stared at her coldly and said it was more than discipline that they didn't deserve. She said they couldn't understand because they weren't parents yet. She said no parent is perfect, but all parents deserve to go to their kid's wedding, and they had no right to take that away from her. I mean, no, if you're acting like an absolute nutcase, no, you don't deserve to be at a wedding. I'm sorry, you don't. Mother-in-law demanded to know if husband had any regrets. He told her he did, and they watched her smile slowly turn into a scowl as he explained. He regrets never setting any boundaries with her. He regrets spending the last 10 years of their relationship pretending her behavior was okay. He regrets never being honest about his feelings with her. But if he had, maybe she would have second thoughts about trying to ruin their wedding. Mother-in-law cut him off and became shrill.
Ruin? You think I wanted to ruin your wedding? I was so happy to be there, you have no idea what I was planning on doing for you and me.
Husband calmly asked what she meant by that. Turns out, mother-in-law had more wedding surprises up her sleeves. She said she was planning on talking to the wedding coordinator about switching up the ceremony. She thought it was unfair how the wedding party always goes last before the bride. So instead, she wanted to walk down the aisle with husband right before my dad and I? Oh, she's Delulu for sure. She was even going to tell the coordinator to ask the guests to stand for their entrance so he would get as much attention as I would. Oh God, she's clearly delusional. Like, as much attention? Also, one of my bridesmaids had to drop out because her due date was the same week of my wedding. I didn't want to replace her, so there was one extra groomsman. No big deal. But mother-in-law knew this, so she said she was going to stand in her place for her as my bridesmaid after just walking down the aisle with husband. Well, if her tirade didn't make you want to get rid of her, doing all of these things probably would have. Just out of curiosity, where in the lineup did you plan on standing? Brother-in-law asked. Right after her sister. That's where the bridesmaid would have been, right?
Oh, I'm just gonna make myself a bridesmaid. Oh, like you don't have a bridesmaid, so I'm just gonna be your bridesmaid.
No, bestie. No. It would have been a wonderful way for me to be a bigger part of your wedding. Not sure they want that. Then mother-in-law revealed she also had planned on sharing a speech after the mother-son dance. We never approved this and she never paid a cent for the wedding.
You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and read it to you boys. Maybe you'll actually regret the way you treat your mother.
Unlikely.
Her speech started with her introducing herself and making a joke about how she was glad to be finally at his wedding, so maybe people would stop mistaking her as her husband because she had him so young. Oh my God. She went on about the benefits and challenges of being a young mom. Okay, so making it about her. She talked about how she was forced to leave her ex-husband and leave her boys with him, and it was the hardest decision she ever had to make. She missed them at every moment they were gone, and every morning she woke up praying they were safe. Okay, this is not what a speech at a wedding is supposed to be like. You're supposed to talk about the bride and groom, for sakes. Do not make it about you. Mother-in-law said parents aren't always ready when they have kids, and she's humble enough to say she wasn't at first. But she thanks God for her boys every day because a mom is who she was meant to be, and she never would have found that or herself without them. Cool?
It's not about you, bag.
She talked about how she went through more struggles than most, but she was proud to say she raised two of the best men that she knew. She ended her speech with how her boys were the light of her life, and she can't wait to see what life has in store for them next. Husband asked if she really planned on doing that without all his permission, and she said
it wouldn't have been a surprise if she told him.
He and his brother stood frozen, speechless, so mother-in-law said, "See? That's how much I care. I told you I wanted to be more involved in the wedding. That was my way of showing you and me how much I love you both, and you ruined it." Dear Lord. She confessed that no parent is perfect and she knew she wasn't, but she tries to do better and they can't see it because their dad painted her as the bad guy. Husband took her hand and sat her down on the couch. He softened his voice and told her he sees that and he knows she tries. He and brother-in-law thanked their mom for getting herself together from when they were little, but husband said that just because she's trying doesn't mean she doesn't still make mistakes. He carefully pointed out that even her rationalizing those would have been surprises was manipulative, and it was selfish of her to impose herself like that on our wedding, and said this is exactly why there's boundaries from here on out. Mother-in-law started yelling again, claiming they were the ones manipulating her.
Playing the victim. Look at me, I'm such a victim.
Treating her gestures of love like
acts of the devil.
She said their dad and I were vilifying her. Maybe they would start to see her for who she really is, and they wouldn't need boundaries if they actually visited more. Husband asked if she has any regrets about what she said to me at the wedding and if she would apologize, but mother-in-law said she can't apologize for doing what she thought was right. You can apologize for upsetting people, though, even if you think it was right. I failed to see how, everything she said to the bride was right. Husband and brother-in-law told her where we stand. Husband said he wasn't going to let her be around me at all until she proves she can respect boundaries without any pushback. Mother-in-law said those boundaries were harsh, and she thought it was disrespectful of her to have them at all. I mean, everything she's doing is disrespectful. Why is it that she's allowed to disrespect everybody, but when you tell her to stop disrespecting you, that's disrespectful? Make it make sense! It doesn't make sense! She asked what's gonna happen when we have kids, if I will let her babysit when she can't be around me. Okay, Mom, since you're making me say it, I've never felt comfortable with the thought of you alone with my kids. And honestly, after the wedding and now this, I don't feel comfortable with the thought of you even meeting them until and unless you prove you can respect boundaries. And these are my terms, not OP's. Mother-in-law yelled more, added in cursing, raving about how this isn't happening. And life hates her because she didn't get a chance to really be a mom and now she won't ever have a chance to be a grandma. She called them horrible and selfish and they have no right to say this or do any of this to her. Brother-in-law pointed out they're not even asking her to change. They just want her to respect their boundaries and they don't think it's a lot to ask. It's not. It really isn't. This is ridiculous.
It's preposterous.
Husband asked if there was anything she wanted to ask of us. She asked for the opposite of every boundary he and brother-in-law had just set for her. And more phone calls and visitation, of course. Oh, and she wanted a full apology from husband, brother-in-law, and myself. Yeah, that's not gonna happen. People that treat you always act like it's like a privilege to have them in your life. And it's like, it's not. It's really not. You're kind of a hindrance, honestly. Isn't it crazy how like you kicked her out of the wedding and as soon as you did that, you had an amazing day? Like, husband stated he had enough of this and they gave her every opportunity to show she's truly caring about them, but she made it all about poor her at every turn. He told his mom it was ridiculous she couldn't compromise on the bare minimum for them. Husband said where they stood now was she had to accept their new boundaries or they wouldn't be able to have a relationship with her. She said she didn't know them anymore and all she sees now when she looks at them is their dad and she doesn't want to know them anymore. They said they guessed that this was goodbye. And they're sorry that it came to this.
No, you aren't. If you were, you wouldn't be doing this. You'll regret this one day. And when that happens, I hope you remember that moms never close the door.
But I can slam it in your face, right? Knowing you'll never had regrets? No, I don't think I'll have any. I don't know how we'll be able to reach the door through the giant wall you put up, but we'll keep that in mind. Love you, Mom. They came home to the biggest hug from me and a home-cooked dinner. I think having that conversation healed a lot of the old wounds for them. Oh, goody. That makes me happy. I will support the healing process just like they supported me when I needed them. Thank you all again for your suggestions and support. We heard you all and thank you for helping us get to this point. I hope you enjoyed the journey. See, the thing is it probably was very painful to have that conversation. But you know now, like you know for sure, this wasn't just somebody who was being defensive, heat of the moment, whatever. This is someone who literally does not take accountability ever, even when they hurt people. And unfortunately, being a person like that, you're doing it to yourself. People won't want to be around you, and unfortunately, you'll have no one to blame but yourself. And going low contact or no contact is the only way they'll understand. I'm really glad that you guys said everything that you needed to say and that your husband and brother-in-law said everything they needed to say. This healed something in me. Thank you for sharing. Bugaboo 934.